Welcome back everyone to Blend to Unreal Engine 5, the complete beginner's guide, and this is where we left it off. Alright, so we've got these here, we've got them hopefully all unwrapped on this end. We just need to make sure that they're unwrapped on this end now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab each of these, like so. Just on the ends, I'm going to press Ctrl E and mark a scene. Alright, there we go. Now let's bring these over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift D. I'm going to spin them around, so RZ 90, 7 to go over the top, and now 1, 2 actually fit those going down to here. And I also want to make sure they're a little bit thinner than this. So we can see here, this is what we've got. We want to make sure that they're actually in there, so they're actually in here. I'm going to actually look at where this goes up to. So I'm going to want them coming round about to here anyway. So what I'm going to do is delete this. I'm going to delete this out of the way. I think what I'll do first is I'll squish these down. So I'm going to press S and X, just squish them down a little bit, move them into place. Then S and X, squish them down a little bit, move them into place, like so. And then finally pull them out. So S and X, pull them out a little bit, like so. And I'm going to put them against this here, as you can see. So S and X, pull them out. And I think that's going to be okay. All right, so now what we can do is we can delete this bit out of the way. So just delete, and then we can move them down now all the way to here. Now you will notice that there's no way you can tell that these are the same as these. But if I actually bring these over and put those next to here, you will probably be able to tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift D. I'm going to bring these over like so. I'm going to put them right to the end of here. So it's just supporting this part here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to need another one. Now you can see that this one, do they look similar? Actually, they don't actually look that similar. But I think what I will do is I will mirror them the other way. So let's see if I can do that. So what I want to do is I want to mirror them going the other way and then alter these a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll come to, where is it? Object, transform, and we'll go to, where's my mirror? There it is, mirror. I'm going to mirror them. I think let's try the X. That mirrored it okay. No, we can see that's the wrong one. So it's going to be the Y, because you can see that this one and this one now look the same. I'm going to go over the top again, and we're going to go to Object, Mirror, and we're going to mirror them on the Y. Have a look. There we go. That's what I actually wanted. So now I'm going to pull them back into place. Like so. Get them leveled up. And then I'm going to put probably just one. I'm still looking to see, is that okay? I think I'll also, yeah, they're actually okay. I'll make that one a little bit smaller and add in another one. Okay, so let's do that little bit of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, grab the whole thing with L, S, and I don't know, randomness, S and Y, make them a little bit smaller, put it over, then bring in one more. So Shift D, put that one in the middle, and then oops, S and Y, a little bit smaller, like so. And there we go. Now, the last thing we need to do is pull these out and rotate them a little bit like we did before. So I'm just going to pull this back in, pull this one out. I'm going to actually do this RZ, like so. Get some randomness in there, like so. And then the final one, let's pull it out just a tad like so. And there we go. All right, let's double tap the A. Let's have a look what that looks like. They look fantastic. Okay, so that's that part done. Now let's think about the color scheme for these parts. Should they be the same as the other parts? I think they should probably be the same as the supports here. So I think these should be the same color as those here. So what we'll do is we'll come in. We'll do this one first. So we'll do this one. We'll go to edit mode, A to grab everything, and then U and unwrap. Let's have a look what that looks like. And then what I'll do is I'll also bring in a material. So I'll bring in the same material as this one. So if we want these to be the same material, all we need to do is grab all of these like so. And then we can grab this one next, because whatever one you grab in last, that is the one which it will take all of the information from. So grab this one, press Ctrl L. And then what we want to do is link materials. And there we go. Now we can see the materials down here. They look really, really nice. We haven't unwrapped these ones yet. So let's come to this one. A, to grab everything. U, unwrap. Let's come to this one. Tab, A, U, unwrap. And finally this one, Tab, A, U, unwrap. And there we go. That is what we're left with. Now, the one thing I'm looking at, let's just have a look at this and just make sure. So light, cracked wood. It's got 2 on there, and unfortunately what it's done is it's took this wood, and that's what it's made it into. So we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to minus off this, and then it'll lighten it all up. Like so. And then we'll have a clear distinction between, we double tap the A, this wood and this wood. And now you can see just how nice that looks. And now what we want to do is we just want to go in and make sure that we've not got any blurry wood or anything like that. That is looking really cool. All right, there we go. Now, the last thing I want to do actually is just make sure all of these are going the right way. So they're all going the right way. All of these are going the right way as well. So yes, that's perfect. These are going the right way. Yep, that's looking really, really nice. Okay, so the next thing is that we need to bring in, we want to bring in some steps, basically. So we might as well actually finish that off. So what I'm saying is we might as well bring in our stone floor down here. And we also might as well bring in our steps, which is going to be over here. So we might as well do all that now. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a cube. So Shift A, let's bring in a cube. And then what I'm going to do is bring it down like so. And I just want to measure out now where it's actually going to come to, because it should be probably to the start of this window. So it wants to be enough out where we can actually get some nice supports in. So if we press 3, you can see that this here, we need some really big actual, you know, supports to come here and support the end of the house. So you don't want to go too far is my point. We also want to bring this all the way back as well. So that's the first thing we'll do. We'll grab this face select, press 3 on the number pad and pull it all the way back like so. And then what we'll do now is go to the front. And then what we want to do is we want to grab it all, and I'm going to pull it all the way over to here like so. And the last thing is I can see that I've actually not pulled these out far enough. You can see here that this piece of wood should be out all the way to here. It shouldn't just be, you know, half of it in and half of it off. So let me fix that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab both of these. I'm going to grab, let me just grab, let's say this one. So I'm going to make sure I'm in edge select. I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to press Shift D. I'm going to pull it out to here. And then all I'm going to do is shrink it down. So S and X, pull it down like so. And then just put that into place. And there we go. And now let's do the same thing with one of these. So L, Shift D, bring it out. And let's put that into place like so. All right, now it looks like it's actually being supported, albeit apart from probably these parts on the back. So let's actually fix that as well. So all I'm going to do that is I'm just going to grab each of these like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull them out with proportional editing on. So let's put it on smooth though, not random. So random, smooth, sorry. Let's go over the top. Let's put X-ray on and let's pull it out all the way out. Let's say here, like so. All right, and the last thing I think then is just to make this one a little bit thinner. So if I come in now, grab this one with L, then press S and X without proportional editing on again. So S and X, bring it in, pull it over, and just making sure that it fits now beautifully in there. Now we can already see on here, these are all randomized as well, so that's good. Let's have a final look round. And we can see, yes, that's looking pretty nice. The one thing I just want to check, yeah, these are nice and tight. Are they too tight up against each other? Should there be a little bit of more of a gap? Let's have a look. If I press S and Y, I want to have a look if I pull these back just a tad. Is that going to look any better? Yeah, I think that looks better like so. Perfect. Everything's looking really nice. Okay, so let's now pull this up to here. So just not quite to the end, maybe to there, something like that. And then what we'll do now is we'll pull it all the way over to here. So if I press tab, come into face select, grab this face, pull it all the way over, like so. And now finally we need our steps. Now the thing is with the steps, so we can see actually before we do that, we need to measure out and see if this is, you know, in the water enough. And I think it's going to be too big. If I pick this up, it should just sit on here and come near enough to the top of the window. I think actually that's about right actually. So if you're measuring it, just measure it from there, going up, and maybe just to the top of the window there. That should be absolutely fine. That then should be enough where we can get our water in the bottom of here, lapping up against here, and give us enough for the steps going down. Okay, so now let's bring in our guy and pull him over. What we need to do now is we need to work out how far this should come out on this end for the steps and how big it should be. So the thing is, it should probably, if we go over the top, make sure you've got your cube selected over the top. Let's put it onto X-ray, not that one, sorry, X-ray, like so. Let's put it on, and there we go. Now, if I press Tab, press Control R, should be able to bring it out probably to there, I think. So you can see that if I bring it there, it's going to have this to actually step on. So he's going to, if I turn him this way, look, so RZ 90, should be able to walk to the end and then walk out. So if I now go back to my cube, 7 to go over the top, we can see I can actually come here and turn around and walk out. So is that going to be big enough? Maybe it's a little bit, just a tiny bit too small. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all this. If you haven't got it grabbed, just press Alt Shift and click on it. And then what you're going to do is 7, go over the top and try and line it up with these pieces of wood. So I'm just going to pull it out to there maybe. Yeah, and I think that's going to be a little bit better. Okay, so now finally we need to bring him over. Then RZ minus 90, or you can just press Alt R. That'll spin him back round. And then I'll come back to my cube, and what I want to do is now pull this out. So I'm going to grab this, 7, I'm going to press E, and I'm going to pull it out. So let's say here, and now his stairs are going to go down here. Is that far enough out? Maybe a little bit further. And that looks perfect. All right, let's turn off X-ray, and let's come back to our model. Yeah, I think that's looking very, very nice. So on the next lesson, what we'll do is we'll get the material onto the actual stone here, and then what we can do is we can start actually carrying on with the windows now, because we've got a lot of the boring parts out of the way, and it's not so much tedious where we're actually making just plank after plank. All right, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.